Inside the towering walls of a Florida maximum security prison, a strange and terrifying mystery began to unfold. One after the other, black women locked behind bars started falling pregnant, without visitors, without freedom, without explanation. Whispers spread through the dorms like wildfire. Fear turned into suspicion, and soon suspicion turned into outright panic. But before I take you deeper into this shocking true-to-life mystery, tell me, where in the world are you watching from right now? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know. And while you're here, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you won't miss tomorrow's story. It's one you truly don't want to miss. The siren wailed across Everglade Correctional, a concrete maze in Florida swamp. Floodlights sliced the dusk. In Dorm C, women froze while Officer Mendez counted heads, keys rattling. Eyes up, he snapped. Amara Johnson, once a nurse, now F811263, raised her hands to the rail. She knew the drumbeat. Count, chow, work, lights out. Tonight the beat faltered under a whisper threading the bunks. Another one, someone breathed. Rhea, her bunkie, leaned in. Kiana, clinic, pregnant, Amara asked. Rhea nodded. 4 in 2 months. That we know, Amara said, mind combing through dates, shifts, carts. Patterns told truths here, but truths cut back. Count cleared. The dorm exhaled. Reverend Lane entered with a box of paperbacks, the soft-footed chaplain with careful eyes. Amara stepped into his line. Chapel, she murmured. He nodded. They slipped into the fan-lit room with peeling stained glass stickers. Amara closed the door. Every positive is a black woman. Different units. No visits. None of it adds up. Lane's jaw tightened. I've heard whispers. I kept notes, she said. Tuesdays run late. Same escorts. Same carts. A knock. Officer Cortez opened without waiting. Prayer meeting, Johnson? Always, Amara said. Pray in your dorm, he replied, smile thin. Back in Dorm C, the TV volume rose. Officials deny any evidence of wrongdoing at Everglade. They ain't looked, Rhea muttered. Lights out dropped like a lid. Someone cried into a pillow. Near midnight, a sliver of light slid under the door. Soft steps. A janitor's closet she'd never seen in use opened and shut. A chemical curl drifted. Then the dark sealed again. Morning brought gray oatmeal, and Kiana with her tray untouched. Amara took the seat across. You okay? They told me not to tell nobody, Kiana whispered. Said I'll lose laundry if I talk. You didn't do anything wrong, Amara said. We can ask for outside testing. They won't let me out, Kiana muttered. In the yard, humidity clung like plastic. Razor wire glittered. Amara and Rhea walked beneath new dome cameras blinking red. Comfort for the news, Rhea said. A medical cart rattled past, a humming cooler strapped to the base. Amara's old training stirred. Cold chain. Samples. From who? Back inside, Mendez announced random searches. Drawers dumped. Mattresses flipped. Cortez's hand slid into Amara's mattress seam and came out with a small spiral notebook. What's this? My mind, she said. He flipped pages, coded dates, carts, officers, and slipped it into his pocket. Property. Rhea bristled. You can't. Step back, he said. After the storm, the dorm looked picked clean. Fear tried to climb Amara's spine. She pressed it down. Resolve settled instead. Near evening, Lane drifted in empty-handed. At Amara's bunk, he whispered, Chapel, now. Inside, he slid out a tissue-wrapped thumb drive, found in the offering box. No note. What's on it? I don't know, he said, but whoever left it trusted the chapel more than admin. The library computer, Amara said. Mrs. Wall leaves the office machine on after lock, Lane replied. I've seen the glow. Tonight, Amara said. Lockdown thundered. 2 hours later, the hallway beyond Dorm C lay in a hush broken by an air conditioner that coughed every 30 seconds. Amara slid from bed. Rhea caught her wrist. You sure? No, Amara said. But go loud or die quiet. Rhea nodded. I'll cough if anyone comes. Amara rolled a mop bucket she'd borrowed. A woman with a bucket turned invisible at night. She passed the station desk. Mendez snored over a crossword. She counted doors, programs, education, library. The library handle was locked. She felt under the sill and found a plastic card. Swipe. Click. Inside, rows of paperbacks breathed dust. Behind the desk, a faint blue glow leaked from the office. A desktop idled. She slid the thumb drive into a port and waited. A folder appeared. Watch. Video files. Dates spanning 3 months. Each began with a wall camera title card and timestamp. The first showed a corridor at 02:11 a.m. A janitor's closet opened. 2 uniforms rolled a cart out. Caps low. Faces shadowed. One shielded the lens with a clipboard while the other guided the cart toward infirmary. Another clip. Another late night. The cart changed. Cooler. crates, but the path didn't. In one frame the shield slipped. A bad shape flashed, a tattoo winked from a sleeve. She clicked the newest file, yesterday's date. It opened on the chapel, camera high. A woman mopping climbed onto a chair, twisted the dome, aimed it at the ceiling and left. 10 seconds later, 2 uniforms entered carrying a box. One set it on the pulpit, the other pulled a cord from the wall and plugged something unseen. The image cut for a heartbeat, then resumed with the room empty, the lens staring at plaster. Footsteps passed outside. Amara stilled. The steps faded. She copied the folder, yanked the stick, and wiped the mouse. She relocked the library, tucked the card back under the sill, and rolled the bucket down the corridor. By the time she slipped into Dorm C, her hands shook. Rhea sat up. Well, Amara hid the drive inside a bar of soap with a slit she'd carved. We have something, she whispered. Enough to make noise. Noise outside? Rhea asked. Louder than they can shut down, Amara said. But first we find that tattoo. At chow, Cortez prowled the aisles, eyes amused. He stopped at Amara's table. Sleep well, like a stone, she said. Stones sink, he replied and moved on. In the yard, Kiana gripped a paper cup, knuckles white. Protect me from who? She asked when Amara promised help. A whistle shrieked. Yard over. Women filed toward gates. Above them a new camera blinked to life. Amara stared into it. If someone was watching, let them see a woman who would not fold. That night she couldn't sleep. The AC coughed, the dorm breathed, and somewhere, a metal door closed with a soft, satisfied click. The prison held its breath. Amara held hers, and planned the next move. She kept planning. The rain came down in sheets the next morning, hammering the tin roof of Everglade like 1,000 fists. Water streaked the narrow windows, distorting the view of the yard into a blur of gray and green. Inside Dorm C, the women sat restless. Rainy days meant no yard time, no distractions, only the buzz of fluorescent lights and the sound of guards pacing the corridor. Amara sat at the edge of her bunk, soap bar in hand, heart pounding. The thumb drive hidden inside pressed against her palm like a burning secret. She had proof now, something solid, but proof was useless if it couldn't reach the outside world. That thought gnawed at her until her stomach twisted. Eat something, Rhea urged, sliding her untouched tray closer. You're gonna faint if you keep running on air. Amara shook her head. I need to think. Whoever left that drive knew what was happening. They wanted me to find it. Or wanted to set you up, Rhea countered. Amara knew she wasn't wrong. Trust was poison here. Still, the video files were too real to ignore. Uniforms, carts, a tattoo. She replayed the images in her head, searching for patterns, faces. Somewhere, someone had slipped. The PA system crackled. Johnson, Amara, report to medical. Her chest tightened. Random call-ups weren't random. She stood, smoothed her uniform and walked. The corridor smelled of bleach and rain. Guards leaned against the walls, eyes following her. Cortez was one of them. His smirk barely flickered. The infirmary was quiet, too quiet. A nurse motioned her to sit on the cot. Routine exam, she said flatly, snapping on gloves. Amara's pulse thumped in her ears. What exam? Blood pressure. Weight. Standard. She complied, though her mind screamed. The cuff tightened around her arm, squeezing. The nurse scribbled notes, never looking at her. When she was dismissed, Amara felt no relief, only deeper unease. Routine, in this place, meant cover. Back in the dorm, whispers coiled through the air. It's spreading, one woman hissed. First Kiana, now Angela. Pregnant. Angela was tall, sharp-tongued, always ready for a fight. Now she sat on her bunk, eyes hollow, hands clutching her stomach. They said I'm 2 months, she whispered when Amara approached. But I ain't been with nobody. Not in here. The dorm fell silent. Fear clamped every throat. The unspoken question hung heavy. If not by choice, then how? That night, Amara couldn't shake the sound of Angela's voice. She waited until the dorm settled, then leaned toward Rhea. We need to map this. Every woman, every date. We'll find the overlap. You lost your notebook, Rhea reminded. Then we start again. They whispered names, dates, movements until their whispers blurred into dawn. By morning they had a list. 4 women, all pulled for late-night medical checks, all escorted by the same 2 officers, Cortez and Daniels, and all returned pale, silent, trembling. Sunday brought chapel. Reverend Lane read from the Psalms, his voice soft against the rain still tapping the roof. Amara scanned the pews, the faces. Someone here had left that drive. Who? After service, Lane approached her. You look worn, Amara. Are you safe? She lowered her voice. Not safe. But closer. His eyes narrowed. Careful. They see everything. Not everything, she said. Not yet. That evening during chow, Angela collapsed. The dining hall erupted, trays clattering, women shouting. Officers stormed in, barking orders. Back against the wall. Now. Angela writhed on the floor, clutching her belly, gasping. A medic team rushed in, strapping her onto a stretcher. She was wheeled out, her screams echoing. The dorm buzzed all night. Fear thickened the air. Women huddled in corners, whispering theories. Some swore it was the water. Others blamed experiments. Others said curses. But Amara knew. It was hands. Human hands, hidden behind uniforms. The next day, Amara received an envelope slipped beneath her pillow. Inside, a single Polaroid. Grainy, underexposed but clear enough. Angela on a stretcher, unconscious. Beside her, Officer Cortez holding the IV bag, smirking at the camera. At the bottom in shaky handwriting, "Trust no one in blue." Her hands trembled. Someone inside wanted her to fight, but someone else wanted her silenced. Both sides were watching. That night, Amara made her choice. She slipped the thumb drive from the soap, hid it in her bra, and waited. After midnight she rose, heart hammering, and slid into the corridor. Rain dripped from the ceiling, pooling on the floor. The prison was hushed, but danger lingered in every shadow. She crept toward the library again. Halfway there, a voice cut through the dark. "Where you going, Johnson?" "Cortez." He stepped from the shadows, baton in hand. His tattoo curled dark on his forearm, a snake coiled around a dagger, exactly like the one from the video. Amara froze. The thumb drive burned against her skin. If he searched her now, it was over. "Library," she lied, forcing calm. "Needed something to read." At night, his smile stretched thin. "Rules don't bend for you." Her throat dried. She glanced down the hall, calculating. Run, fight, or bluff. He stepped closer, close enough that she smelled smoke and leather. "You see too much, Johnson." Her pulse pounded. His hand reached toward her. Then from behind, a voice rang sharp. "Officer Cortez, Captain wants you. Now." It was Daniels. He stood at the end of the hall, face unreadable. Cortez cursed, glaring at Amara, then stalked off. Daniels lingered just long enough to meet her eyes before turning away. Relief flooded her, but unease followed. Why would Daniels protect her, unless he wanted something too? Back in Dorm C, Amara lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The Polaroid, the thumb drive, the tattoo. Secrets tangled tighter with every step. The prison walls seemed to breathe, alive with menace. And somewhere in that breathing, a storm gathered that would either expose the truth or bury them all. The storm finally broke. But inside Everglade Correctional, tension only thickened. The air smelled of damp cement and bleach. Guards barked orders sharper than usual, and the women moved like shadows, wary, jumpy, waiting for the next shoe to drop. Amara sat on the edge of her bunk, clutching the Polaroid like it might dissolve if she let go. Rhea paced in front of her. "That's proof," she hissed. "Proof Cortez is in it, up to his neck. We gotta get it out." "And to who?" Amara whispered. "The warden? He's either blind or part of it." Then outside, Rhea said, "News, lawyers, somebody out there has to listen." Amara slid the photo back under her mattress. "First we stay alive. Cortez saw my face last night. He knows I know." Before Rhea could answer, the dorm door slammed. Officers marched in. "Shake down," Cortez barked. Everyone out, hands against the wall. Women groaned, shuffled, obeyed. Amara's heart thundered. If they found the Polaroid, or worse, the thumb drive, everything was over. She slipped the soap bar back into her bucket as the line formed. Cortez prowled the bunks like a wolf, flipping mattresses, tearing through belongings. His tattoo coiled dark against his forearm as if mocking her. He yanked Angela's blanket, rifled through Kiana's box of letters, then turned toward Amara's bunk. Her breath stalled. But before he reached it, Daniels spoke. Dorm Doe reported a fight. "They need backup." Cortez cursed under his breath. "Finish here." He snapped at the other guards, then stormed out. The search ended 30 minutes later. Nothing was taken from Amara's bunk. She exhaled relief so sharp it hurt. But the message was clear. She was marked. That evening, during chow, the women whispered louder than usual. "Angela's gone," one said. "Transferred." "No, shipped to medical," another countered. "Transferred," the first insisted. "That's what they say before you vanish." Amara clenched her fork. Every woman taken was silenced. That couldn't keep happening. Later, Reverend Lane called her to the chapel. The room smelled of dust and candle wax. He closed the door. "Something's happening, Amara. I don't know what, but whispers are spreading even to the staff. Nurses talk when they think no one listens. What do they say? That someone high up signed off. This isn't just Cortez." His eyes flickered. "You're in danger." Amara's voice hardened. So are all of us. Lane sighed. Then you'll need allies. She frowned. In here? He nodded. Not everyone in blue agrees with what's happening. Her thoughts flashed to Daniels. Why had he stopped Cortez? Was he the ally, or just another player in a deeper game? That night, Amara dreamed of babies crying behind locked doors. She woke to screams, real ones. It was Rhea. Guards dragged her out of bed, hands twisted behind her back. Medical call, one barked. She's fine, Amara shouted. She doesn't need. The butt of a baton slammed against her shoulder, cutting her words. Stay back, Cortez snarled. The dorm roared with protest, women yelling, pounding bunks. But the guards muscled Rhea into the hall and slammed the door. Silence dropped like a shroud. Amara's hands shook. She pressed her forehead against the cold concrete wall, fighting despair. They were picking them off, one by one. Hours dragged. Morning light seeped through barred windows. Rhea didn't return. By mid-afternoon, Amara couldn't sit still. She marched to the chapel during rec time. Lane met her eyes and knew. They took her, Amara said, voice breaking. He gripped her arm. Don't do anything reckless. She's my only family in here, Amara spat. If they touch her, you won't help her by getting crushed yourself, Lane warned. He slipped something into her palm, a folded slip of paper. Someone left this under the chapel door. Amara unfolded it, in jagged handwriting. Laundry room, midnight, alone. Her pulse spiked. Trap or lifeline. Either way, it was a move. She tucked it into her shoe. That night, the dorm hushed into uneasy sleep. Amara slipped from her bunk, moving like a shadow. She carried the bucket again, her disguise. The halls smelled of mildew and iron. The laundry room door groaned open. Inside, machines loomed in rows, silent in the dark. A single light flickered overhead. Johnson, a voice murmured. Daniel stepped from behind a dryer. His face was tense, eyes sharp. You left the note, Amara demanded. He shook his head. But I knew you'd come. Then who? The side door creaked. Another figure stepped in, a woman in janitor's coveralls. She pulled down her hood, gray hair, dark eyes. Mrs. Wall, the library clerk. You left the drive, Amara realized. Wall nodded. And the photo. But this place eats people alive, Johnson. You want answers? You'll need more than scraps. Daniels crossed his arms. You shouldn't be here, Wall. She shot him a look. And you shouldn't cover for Cortez. Don't think I don't see. Amara's head spun. It's dangerous. To everyone. Tell me what it is, Amara pressed. But before Wall could speak, the overhead bulb shattered. Darkness slammed down. Boots thundered in the hall. The door burst open. Cortez, flanked by two guards, flashlight beams slicing through the room. Midnight party? He sneered. His light swept over Amara. Daniels, Wall. Perfect. 3 birds, 1 stone. Amara's chest seized. The thumb drive pressed hot against her skin. Her heart screamed run, fight, anything. But the guards blocked every exit. And in that suffocating dark, Amara knew. The game had just exploded into something far more lethal than she imagined. The flashlight beam seared Amara's eyes. She blinked against it, body tense, pulse hammering. Cortez's sneer deepened as he stepped forward, baton loose in his hand. Well, well, he said, circling them. Johnson the curious cat, Daniels the traitor, and Wall the rat. I should have known. Daniels squared his shoulders. Captain knows you've been running games in here. You're about to sink yourself. Cortez barked a laugh. Captain signs my timesheets. You think anyone outside this block cares what happens here? Nobody's coming. Wall's voice cut sharp. The tapes are out, Cortez. They won't stop this fire. His eyes flickered. Anger, not fear. He swung his baton, smashing it into a washer, metal shrieking. Then I'll start with you. Adrenaline surged through Amara. She darted left, grabbing the mop bucket and hurling the filthy water. Cortez cursed, staggering back, flashlight dropping with a clatter. Darkness swallowed the room, broken only by the faint glow from the hall. Run, Wall hissed. Amara bolted toward the side door, Daniels close behind. Shouts erupted as Cortez's men gave chase. Wall shoved a dryer against the main door, buying seconds. They burst into the corridor, feet slapping wet tile. Alarms hadn't blared yet, but the echo of pursuit filled every corner. Amara's lungs burned. Where? Chapel, Daniels panted. Safe lock there. They tore through a stairwell, up one flight, down another. Prison at night was a labyrinth of shadows, cameras blinking red, doors locked tight. Amara's mind raced. If Cortez caught them, they were done. If the tapes were real, then exposure was their only shield. They skidded into the chapel, slamming the door. Lane, startled from a chair, shot up. What in God's name? No time, Amara gasped, shoving the thumb drive into his hand. Hide it, now. His eyes widened, but he slid it beneath the Bible on the pulpit without a word. The door banged. Cortez's voice thundered. "Open it." Amara braced against the wood, heart thudding. Daniels yanked a chair, wedging it under the handle. The pounding grew violent. "They'll break through," Wall whispered, breathless from the chase. Lane stepped forward, voice calm but fierce. "Then they'll find me standing here, not her." Cortez roared from the hall. "You think your collar makes you safe, preacher? You're a joke." The chair cracked under the force. Amara's fear twisted into fury. Every woman taken, Kiana, Angela, Rhea, they echoed in her ears. She refused to vanish like them. Then the pounding stopped. Silence pressed heavy. Daniels cocked his head. "That's not right." From the corridor came a different voice, stern, cold. "Stand down, Cortez." The warden. The door creaked open. Floodlights from the hall poured in, blinding. Cortez stood fuming, jaw tight, baton still in hand. Beside him loomed the warden. Gray suit, unreadable eyes. Guards lined the hall like statues. Lane's voice rose steady. "These people are hurting women under your roof, and you've let it fester." The warden's gaze swept the room, pausing on Amara. For a flicker, his eyes narrowed, like he recognized something in her. Then he spoke, slow and measured. "Take them all." Shock froze her. "What?" Guards surged forward. Daniels grabbed Amara's arm, but they were overwhelmed. Batons shoved them to the ground. Wall cried out. Lane's Bible slid from the pulpit, thudding to the floor. The thumb drive spilled from its pages, skittering across the tiles. Cortez stooped, snatched it up, and grinned. Game over. Amara struggled against the hold on her wrists. "That drive proves everything," she shouted. "The world will know." Cortez leaned close, breath hot with smoke. "The world won't hear a damn thing." They were dragged into the hall, wrists zip-tied, bodies aching. The prison seemed to close around them tighter with every step. Amara's chest clenched, not from fear alone but from rage. If the drive was gone, the truth might die with them. But in the corner of her vision, she caught Wall's hand slipping into her pocket. The faintest glimmer of a second flash drive between her fingers. Hidden, protected. Hope sparked a fragile flame, but it was enough to keep her from breaking. The warden led them down into the belly of the prison, past locked doors and echoing corridors that smelled of mold and old iron. Finally, they stopped at a heavy steel door. It opened with a groan, revealing a dim chamber lined with cells. Isolation. Amara was shoved inside. The door slammed, the lock clanged, and darkness wrapped her like a shroud. She pressed her back to the cold wall, chest heaving. Somewhere in the prison, Cortez held one drive, but somewhere else, Wall held another. The game wasn't over, not yet, and Amara vowed she would fight until the truth clawed its way out of these walls, no matter what it cost. The isolation cell was a coffin of concrete and silence. Hours blurred into days, maybe weeks. Amara couldn't tell anymore. A bare bulb flickered overhead, never off, never fully bright. Guards slid a tray through the slot, nothing more. She prayed, whispered plans to the walls, clung to scraps of hope. Then, one night the lock scraped, the door swung open. 2 guards stood there. "Move." Amara's knees trembled, but she rose. They marched her through tunnels she hadn't seen before, low, damp, like the belly of some beast. The air smelled of rust and mildew. Finally the passage opened into a wide chamber lit by buzzing fluorescents. Inside, rows of cots, women strapped down, needles in their arms. Machines humming. Amara's heart slammed against her ribs. Kiana, Angela, even Rhea, alive, eyes glassy, stomach swollen. "My God," Amara whispered. A voice slithered behind her. "You wanted answers, Johnson. Here they are." Cortez stepped out of the shadows, his tattoo gleaming under the harsh light. Behind him, the warden adjusted his tie, face carved of stone. "This prison," the warden said, "is more than correctional. It's experimental. Contracts. Funding. You wouldn't understand." "They're women," Amara cried. "Human beings." "Subjects," Cortez corrected, lips curling. "And the results? Promising." Amara's stomach churned. "Pregnancies. Forced. Controlled. Not accidents. Deliberate." "You won't get away with this," she spat. Cortez chuckled. "Who'll believe you? A convict. No one listens to you people." But before despair swallowed her, a clang echoed. The far door burst open. Reverend Lane stormed in. Bloodied but alive, flanked by Wall and 2 outsiders in plain suits. Cameras dangled from their necks. "Reporters. Believe her now," Lane thundered. Chaos erupted. Guards lunged, but Wall hurled a smoke canister. The room filled with choking gray. Shouts, crashes, confusion. Amara broke free, sprinting toward Rhea's cot. She ripped the straps loose. "Stay with me." Rhea blinked, dazed, but managed a whisper. "You came." More women stirred, weak but alive. Reporters shouted questions, flashes cutting through smoke. The warden's mask cracked, fear at last. Cortez swung his baton, catching Amara's shoulder. Pain seared, but she clung to Rhea, dragging her upright. Lane shoved Cortez back, bellowing scripture like a battle cry. Wall held up the second thumb drive, waving it for the cameras. "This," she shouted, "is the proof." The flashbulbs popped. Evidence, witnesses, testimony. The walls of secrecy shattered. Sirens wailed, not prison alarms but outside ones. The law had come. Within hours, Cortez was shackled, face twisted with rage. The warden stood silent, his empire crumbling. Guards whispered, some trembling, and the women, Amara, Rhea, Kiana, Angela, were carried out into the night air, free of chains at last. Weeks later, Amara sat in a courthouse, sun streaming through wide windows. Reporters crowded the steps outside. She held Rhea's hand, steady now, strong again. The scandal had exploded nationwide, Florida's darkest secret laid bare. But justice was slow. Trials, denials, appeals. The shocking aftermath wasn't only headlines, it was the faces of women forever changed, the weight of children born from cruelty, and the echo of trust broken. Still, Amara spoke. She testified, her voice unshaking. She told the world about cots, needles, midnight escorts, about Cortez's tattoo, about a prison that became a laboratory, and about the courage of those who refused to stay silent. Her words lit fire across the nation. Protests swelled, reforms thundered. What was hidden could no longer hide. As she stepped from the stand, Lane caught her eye, nodding with quiet pride. Wall clutched the Bible where the first drive had been hidden. Rhea smiled weakly beside her. Amara breathed deep, the weight of years lifting. The truth was out. And though the scars would never fade, the women of Everglade Correctional had turned their pain into power. The world would remember.